Ah, Yuletide, that magical time of year with snow, festive lights, and most important, the YouTube Maker's Secret Santa. And to be perfectly clear, this is not that. This is not Kids Invent Stuff, Colin Firth or Lemon Engineer. This is just a loving homage, inspired by, store brand, ordered from Temu Bootleg version. Because this is the maker community, and if we want something, we make it. So under the banner of the Make Crude Mistakes podcast, 7 YouTube makers have come together in a secret chain to make and receive gifts from each other. The maker I've been assigned is DIYish by Chloe. And those of you who follow her on social media knows that she recently moved house, so I'm sure she can use some home decor. But what you probably don't know is that both she and I work in power distribution, and since we just happen to have some high and low voltage cables, let's make some power cable coasters. I started by cutting the cables into thin slices on a bandsaw. It's used plastic and aluminum, but to be sure I used a steel cutting blade. Both cables have the same conductor size, 240 square millimeters. The cable with 4 strands is the low voltage one, and the one with 3 is the high voltage. The important difference, other than the number of strands, is the insulation around them, because the higher the voltage, the more insulation is needed to prevent short circuits. The saw left some frayed edges, so I cleaned it up with a knife, and there was a lot of loose particles that was luckily easy enough to wash out with a sponge and some water. But the saw blade also deposited some melted plastic on the metal strands that needed to be removed mechanically. A hassle, but very satisfying. I never used pouring epoxy before. I didn't feel like buying a set of measuring cups, so I made my own. Epoxy is measured in volume, 2:1, so I used water and a scale to find the correct ratio in plastic glasses. I used the indent in the glass for part A, and then there was just a matter of adding half of the weight and making a new mark, and the custom mixing cup was done. I poured through the markings and stirred carefully. According to the channel Recive, you're supposed to stir until the mixture goes transparent, so I did that. It took a lot longer than expected. I got a silicone baking tray with 10 cm cups, made for hamburger buns, and spent more time than I would like to admit making the tray level before I did a base pour of a couple of millimeters. After the base, that's the top of the coasters, was cured, I mixed up a big batch of resin and did a small pour before I placed the cable slices. I gave them a push to make sure that they got their innards filled. Then I poured the rest, realized I didn't have enough, and mixed some more. Normal epoxy, I think. I used an old ice cream stick to measure that the epoxy was roughly the same depth on all of them. I didn't see that many air bubbles, but I blasted it with a torch, just to be safe. With the epoxy fully cured, it was time to wrestle the coasters out of the mold and see the result. It came out better than I could have hoped for, but not perfect. A few particles had lingered in some of the cable slices and probably got out when I pushed on them, but there's nothing that can be done about that now. Let's say it adds character. The bottom had its sharp edge from where the epoxy had crept up on the form wall, so to minimize the risk of cutting yourself and making sure that the coaster laid still on the table, I glued an O-ring of the right size in place. My thought was that if you had a table that requires coasters, it's probably a good looking one, so it would see through coasters when possible, and the O-rings are not obstructive. If anything, they mimic cable pipes and give a good example of why you need bigger pipes for high voltage cables compared to low voltage ones. Because even if high voltage cables of this kind doesn't have a ground neutral strand, the bigger insulation and the fact that the conductors are round instead of sector form makes for bigger cables. So there we have it, all neatly wrapped up and ready to be shipped off. But since I don't really trust the Swedish postal system, I will instead use my mind powers to get it there. Ah, perfect. And I've seemed to have summoned my own gift as well. Come closer and we'll have a look. It's just a simple envelope with my address on it and a return address without a name. Interesting. KJ, Merry, very early Christmas. Looking forward to seeing your video and the other bootleg Secret Santa makes. James. Oh, it's from James from Molten Make. Oh, yeah. Molten Make, the beer channel. And this looks very much like a beer cozy with my logo on it, and it is super nice. Ah, for a glue bottle, of course. No other bottle than a glue bottle. Sure. Wonderful. I need to find a bottle for this. I'll be right back. Would you look at that? It's a perfect fit for this lovely Irish glue I really enjoy. Thank you so much, James. This was a perfect gift. And now, dear watcher, you have two options. Either you go forward in the playlist that's linked down below and watch how Chloe reacts to my gift, or if you're a rebel, you go backwards and watch James make this. Either or, you do you. Thank you very much for watching, and have a merry whatever you're having.